Okay, welcome to this week's hashtag leadership What's on Your Mind, a podcast to make you think about and add value to your leadership journey. So today we are speaking to Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
Really good, thanks, Stuart. Really good.
Good. So we have a shared background in regards to ex-military. I met Alex in a organisation and a network I'm involved in to help supporting people transitioning outside the military. And I already know he's got a great story to tell, but I don't know all the complexities of it. And I jumped at the opportunity to having him on the podcast. So everybody, we know what the timing is. It's 20 minutes. So Alex, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So Stuart, thank you. Hello, everybody. What's on my mind today? Well, I'm Alex Holloway. I'm in the last 3 months now of coming out of the army, so resettling. And it's been quite an incredible journey because obviously COVID has hit. But actually COVID-19 for me gave me such focus and to realise actually you've got to seize the opportunities, and they're out there. They're always out there. And so, I then have established my business. So I'm a consultant, and I'm keen to basically give back. And my business idea is to really support service personnel and service leavers in preparation for their second career, because we're all going to have a second career. So it's important to get that into people's minds. And so I kind of reflected on all of this and decided that today I'm going to talk about leadership and resilience and the very close synergies between the two of them. So firstly, leadership. In business, it's about obviously leadership of your clients or your team, but also you've got to have in the back of your mind the importance of self-leadership, being able to lead you, and that comes from understanding yourself, and I'll come on to that. But in so doing, you've also got to be aware of both your personal resilience and also your business resilience, because that's how you will grow. You will seek new client bases, new products, and new opportunities. And actually is more important now than ever as we're entering into another recession. So they are really extraordinary times at the minute, and people can choose to react to that in many different ways. And I've seen it both in myself and those around me in my network, and those that are taking a positive view to it, so really seeking to understand how it affects them and their business, and seek out those new opportunities for enhancement, are the people that are doing really well in COVID. And actually, the more people that I speak to who are self-employed and run their own businesses, actually they are probably the most resilient part of today's work environment, as opposed to big business. The ability to flex and adapt is actually quite easy. You can do it in a day almost, or begin to start the journey to do it in a day. But also, as we will have all looked on the news and various media channels that we follow, I genuinely believe we're on a mental health, or about to enter into a mental health pandemic. In terms of how COVID has affected people, their business, whether they've been furloughed, made redundant, been isolated. And actually, we're seeing a rise in depression, a rise in anxiety, particularly anxiety, I would say. But we've got to understand how we take that forward, how we address that, both in terms of society, culture, but also within your businesses, and also fundamentally in yourself. And this kind of brings me to my first point, in that it's really important to understand ourselves, because when we really understand ourselves, and I'm going to come onto a model that helped me, then you are true, you are authentic, and it gives you such drive and focus going forward. And once you understand yourself, then you can understand your business. And particularly when you are leading a business or engaging with clients, you are still a leader, and how you bring together, forge that team to be the best that they can is really important. And that only comes from being empathetic. And there's a very, very real difference between sympathetic and empathetic. Empathetic means that you are showing that you are actively listening with that individual or that group. You're not going in there with any form of bias, either unconscious or predisposed. You are generally there to react to how those people are feeling and how they view their current situation. And by knowing that as a leader, it allows you to put time, resource, investment into those individuals, but in a tailored fashion. And that's the really important thing, because everybody's needs is going to be completely different. If we look at a business where I don't know, we've got a young individual who's just recently joined the company, then they're going to really need some coaching, some mentoring to quickly speed their journey into understanding the business and what they're going to do for it. And also you then perhaps contrast that with someone who's been in the company, say, for 5 years, a steady Eddie, isn't being stretched. Well, actually, let's stretch them. Let's let them understand their limitations, but hopefully get to the cusp, of it. So actually, they're in the positive environment where actually they can see that they are excelling, learning new skills, and of course, giving them new direction, new opportunities in business. So I use the metaphor when linking leadership and resilience to an elastic band. Everybody's elastic band is different, thick, thin, whatever it might be, but it's all about that stretch. And sometimes we will, be happy and just kind of playing with it. Other times we'll be really operating at our limit. But it's so important to understand that limit so that both things that happen to us or are done to us don't cause it to break. That's what resilience is. Now, resilience comes from
what you were saying then. I think that's a great analogy. I think the elastic band, it just gives people that perspective, and everybody can relate to that, can't they? Yeah. I know you're going to go on to. Are you able to share with us a little bit of your personal story and how that's helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because then comes on to my next point about what is self. I'm leaving the army due to a number of mental health conditions that arose as a result of my service, and excuse me, and they're as a result of situations I was involved in, both on deployments, but also here in the UK as well. And that caused me back in 2018 to really address my life, because I got to the point where I did try to take my life. But that was a turning point for me, because again, I use an analogy of a house. Everybody is a house, but mine was blown away. I was literally lying on the floor and had to rebuild myself brick by brick, layer by layer, until now, the situation I find myself in, where I've got a fantastic house. And actually, that journey that I have undertaken to get me to the point where I am today is because I understood myself. And I'm going to talk about that now. So bear with me on this, because this is a model that I've come up with, but I think is really important. It's about building blocks. So in terms of our mental resilience and understanding ourselves, because that's what I want to get to at the top, the first aspect is both nature and nurture. So as individuals, how we were raised by our parents, and then also how we continue to develop ourselves, our approach to life. That is the building block, the foundation, the lowest level of what is your understanding of self and resilience. So we then have mental and physical well-being. I think people view them as independent entities. They're not. They're together. One is as important as the other in being able to be in control of your life and your sense of self. And they've got to be balanced. And sometimes they won't be. We will all have experienced pressures or perhaps when we're bored. And so actually understanding that balance and the tipping point between it is a continual day-to-day function. But in so doing, you make yourself more resilient and also better able to do your business or seek new opportunities. So above that then is our elastic band. So we've gone from a seesaw to our elastic band. Now resilience is, as I've kind of alluded to, it's about understanding our limits, but also what our personal objectives are, our internal and external factors. And of course that changes and actually, perhaps grows during your professional career. So you become more resilient so long as you approach it in the right way. So how does resilience change? And it does change on a daily basis. It comes from our experiences. What we experience ourselves, the decisions, the actions that we take, and the opportunities that leads to, but also the experiences of what happens to us that we are not in control of. For example, COVID-19, Brexit, what's going to be for business, the vision for next year, and how do we adapt to that? So that's really important. Now, the next three aspects are perhaps, well, not most controversial, but I would allude to possibly they might create debate. So I think above experiences is your sense of purpose and your legacy. What do you want to be known as? What do you want to leave behind or bring along with you on your journey? And that's really important. I think certainly purpose gives you drive. Legacy gives you opportunity to give back and be recognized professionally for something, or indeed as a husband, wife, partner, whatever it might be, and family. But that gives you your why. And I think legacy also comes later on in life. I think you have to be have gone out into the world, got a little bit of life experience under your belt to be able to understand it. And it's almost a very difficult question to ask yourself, but I do think you should do personally for yourself and also for your business. The next bit above that is your belief system. Now, people think, well, do I need to have a religion? And it's not about that. Belief can come from faith, but it also comes from your values. And I think so, even if you are agnostic, that doesn't matter. You still have a set of values, a set of personal standards. And that keeps you true and honest to yourself. And then when you bring all of those together and really understand with them, and I would invite everybody today just to reflect on what I said and perhaps start writing those out. But it defines you, it defines me. And when you are in that piece, if you link together, some people will be aware of this, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we really get to self-actualization. We really do. But we can't get to that point unless we have everything else understood by us. But also you can use the model for your business as well. How do you make your business more resilient? Are the experiences that your business is undertaking at the minute, positive or negative? And fundamentally, it helps you define your business vision. And I think that's really important. Yeah. But also, when we look at business and ourselves, the other key aspect is the importance of judgment. Now, judgment is really important because, particularly in the times that we're in now, because how do we flex, how do we adjust both individually and as businesses to COVID-19? We are at a pivotal moment for some people, for some businesses. But you've got to realize failure is as important, and I would probably argue more important than success, because success is a self-feeding feedback loop. It makes you feel good. You're earning money, you're selling products. But actually, failure is where you learn. And that's so important. And how you react to that failure as well. Do you choose to, shut up shop, close your eyes, I'm not listening to anyone, put yourself into a position where you start to feel depressed. And actually, as a result, perhaps your business is failing because you're not personally connecting to it. Now, I would, here's my fourth piece of advice for today. Everybody should go on the internet and look up the poem by Rudyard Kipling, If, which was written in 1895. And I tell you what, that is, in that poem, those 5 verses, is some great business advice. Honestly, it is amazing. I sat down yesterday trying to think of how can I help people with their businesses and individuals and leading. But it's probably the best business advice I've ever read. I would commend it to everybody.
I'll put a link to that in this in the comments below, and then people can go and check it out. But yeah, amazing.
That'd be brilliant. So that's the first aspect of judgment, is realizing the importance of failure and how you react to it. The next is, and Stuart, you will be fully aware of this, surrounding yourself with the right people. And I really do stress that point. I'm not saying that you should, refuse a connection because perhaps you think they're not going to add value to you, both personally or in your business. But actually, it's about selection of them. And you need to surround yourself with a range of people as well. So I would say to you, have positive people in your network, have optimists, have pragmatists, reflectors, and visionaries. And if you can bring all of those together and have those conversations with that network, or indeed with your employees as a leader, then you're really in the right place to grow individuals as a leader, grow yourself, and together growing your business. And that is really, really key if we're going to, or you are, people out there with their businesses going to react positively to COVID-19 as an example. But it's so important. Do not surround yourself with negativity.
Yeah, and again, it's that thing of you attract what you project as well. Right. And again, if you're in that mindset of looking for those opportunities, and again, I kind of dip my toe in that law of attraction, or some people saying that you're lucky. I'm always sort of, you make your own luck and you meet the people that you go and look for. But I always put that thing of action, because people talk about law of attraction and mindset. I quite quickly direct them to, you've got to do something about it, which is very much a military thing of focus, direction, do something over nothing. So just a quick question as we finish off, just to delve all the way back, really. And I always ask this question of guests. Are you aware of when your leadership journey started? And some people are aware, but they weren't aware at the time. But it takes people quite far back. How far would you go back as your leadership journey?
So, great question. And, I could probably go as far back to when I was in the Cub Scouts and I led my Green Six. That was my first real exposure to leadership. But of course, leadership is a journey. So perhaps you do have a start point, absolutely. But I think, my leadership journey is growing consistently and continuously. But I think a really good question to ask is, when was the moment that really defined your leadership? And for me, that moment was on the 3rd of October 2018, when I chose to take my life. Because that's when I connected with me. I'd realized that for 15 years of my professional career, I perhaps hadn't understood that piece of wisdom. And it really is a piece of wisdom. Because from that rebuilding of oneself, understanding, building your resilience, harmonizing and bringing together everything about you to achieve self-actualization. But the final point I'd probably say as we kind of enter into the final minute or so is I would ask people to be selfishly kind to themselves. Understand what you can and can't take on. Never be afraid of saying no, because you've got to allow yourself to engage with your business, your products, in a way that doesn't put you out of balance, whether that's a week, 6 months, a year down the line, because that's the only way you're going to grow. Because again, back to that elastic band, you're getting to a limit and then you get snap. So to really kind of summarize everything that I've kind of said, so we've discussed leadership, both the self of others and resilience. What is a sense of self and how we must understand that, the importance of judgment, and the synergies and the importance of being selfishly kind. That all allows us to be the best version of you. And if that's what you achieve, goodness me, the world is your oyster. It really is. And you will attract the right people, the best people, and be able to bring them together. And please reach out to me. If you want to have a chat, I'd welcome it. So thank you, Stuart, for allowing me the opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And like I say, your link will be in the comments, and also to that poem as well. I'm going to go and check it out as soon as we jump off this. So guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe. And recently found out you've got to hit the bell and it gives you notifications. And we always preview our episodes. But if you're on your podcast provider, it'd be great for you to hit a review and comment, and also pass it forward, because we want to impact and add value to as many business owners, as many people on whatever stage of their leadership journey they are on. So remember, 6 o'clock in the morning, every Wednesday, another episode will be coming out. Alex, thank you so much again for giving us your words and your journey, and sharing some of your very interesting journey, both self and also externally as well. So thanks very much, everybody. Take care. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.